Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. I am Pastor Mark. Let's see how the Holy Spirit is moving. I've had an interesting situation in my life the last couple weeks. I'm going to share it with you, and so bear with me as I tell the story. I got to set it up for you so you kind of know what's going on. I was out at this place that my wife and I have, and I walked by. I had mowed, and I walked by the side of the house. This one end of the house. On the end of this house is a little mud room, we call it, and it's just a side room that was put on for by some people to like do their laundry in the winter. So it was Amish and kind of thing. I'm guessing that's what it was for. But anyway, I'm walking by, and I'm in shorts, and I'm like, "Ow, boy!" I mean, I howled, boy. I mean, I was howling like an old hound dog. And sure enough, I got zinged by either a hornet or a yellow jacket. I'm not sure which one it was. It does not matter. All I know is that it hurt, and I howled, boy. I mean, I howled. And fortunately, I got out of there without getting hit again or by any others and this sort of thing. And so I normally don't have reactions to that. And I didn't, actually. It was like, okay, it hurt a little bit, and it was red. And I kind of scraped at it a little bit to make sure there was no stinger in there. And then I was reminded myself, oh yeah, one of those two, the stinger doesn't come out usually. And so I'm like, I'm probably okay, no problem. A week later, I'm having no problems. A week later, I wake up at like 5 in the morning, and that area is itching. I mean, boy, it's itching. And couldn't get it to quit itching. I'm watching it, and it's just getting bigger. It's swelling up. And then, so I let this go on. I was doing some stuff. I was on vacation, and I was doing some stuff. And I thought, I better call my doctor just to see what's going on. And so I called my doctor, and they said, well, is it warm to the touch? And of course, it was warm to the touch. It wasn't warm. It was hot. So I'm like, oh, they said, well, you better come in. So long story short, I go into the doctor, and we have a conversation. They didn't check to see if the stinger was in there. We assumed it was not because we thought it was from one of these that didn't have it, and I thought I had already checked. So it was no big deal. They put me on prednisone. Woo! That was fun. 5 days of prednisone, sleeping 2 hours at night, and flying, because, the prednisone kind of will do that to you. That's one way it does it to you. Anyway, everything's fine. I decided I do have my doctorate, so I decided I'd do a little research on my own. And sure enough, I found the stinger. The stinger was in there, a little bitty thing. It wasn't doing much, but it caused a problem. Here's the interesting thing. Let's take this in parts, and we'll parse this a little bit, okay? So here's something we need to know. Solomon says in the Song of Songs, the Song of Solomon, let us catch the little foxes that spoils the vine. Okay, so, I remember reading one time in an old publication called the Herald of Holiness, and one of the contributors to an article talked about, he heard an old preacher say one time, I'd rather be swallowed by a whale than nibbled to death by minnows. Boy, if that is not a description of pastoral ministry. It's not the big things that cause pastors issues. It's the little things that cause them issues. A little bitty, I wouldn't have even known it was the stinger, except for, I came to the conclusion it was stinger. And I felt nudged by the Holy Spirit. You need to dig around in there, and it's like a splinter, Sure enough, God. So we're going to do this. This is going to be a 2-part Chasing the Wind. And this one here, I want you to sit with something, wind chasers. I want you to think about the little things in your life that we think aren't anything, okay? But they can be big things. And sometimes we let them fester. We let these little annoyances fester. Sometimes we're the little annoyance, by the way. We need to remember that. It's not always someone else is the problem. Sometimes we're the stinger sometimes. Of course, most of my congregation would say I'm the stinger on Sunday mornings when I preach, because, they call me Captain Meddler for a reason. But sometimes there's these little annoyances in our lives, and we think they're taken care of, but we really haven't taken care of them. sometimes it's a sin. There's something in our life, there's a sin that we're unwilling to acknowledge, or we think it's been taken care of, only to find out that we really didn't take care of it. We just kind of, maybe we justified it. Maybe, well, there's there's a reason I'm not forgiven. Whatever the deal is, there's a reason I'm mad. I have a right to be mad. That's a stinger that's sitting in there sometimes. It's festering. And the prednisone helped. There's no doubt about that. But probably what helped mostly was when I got the stinger out of there. Sometimes there's a stinger put in there. Paul talked about his thorn in the flesh. I wonder if it was a stinger. Maybe it was a stinger in the flesh. That there's sometimes things that maybe God allows. I'm not a big one to advocate that God, he made this bad thing happen to me so that I would learn. No, sometimes we don't have usually a hard time finding bad things in our lives. They sometimes usually follow bad choices. But I want you to think about that, Wind Chasers, and pray about are there some stingers in my life, little things that I've maybe not even seen, buried deep, that are causing some discomfort, some infection, some reaction, that I need to say, what is this about, God? Help me find out what this is about. And let God do some digging, find out what it is, and then when it is, let him take it out and let him bring some healing into your life. There's a second part to this, but I'm gonna let that go for the next video. But in the meantime, Wind Chasers, I've given you something to think about there for a minute, and I'm going to let you think about it and chew on it a bit. And you'll understand now why my church calls me Captain Meddler. So until next time, keep chasing the wind, because the wind is chasing you. I'm Pastor Mark. Grace and peace.